Welcome to Philadelphia, where I've got good news for the 49ers right as I arrive. Trent Williams is going to play tomorrow for San Francisco. Ricky Pearsall is going to be a game-time decision, and for the Eagles, who obviously are going to be wearing green, there you have some Philadelphia green here at the 30th Street Station. Lane Johnson, their all-world right tackle, might not play. Dealing with that Lisfranc sprain, and apparently there's still some swelling and there still is some pain for Lane Johnson. So we will monitor that situation very closely. 49ers have made their 2 practice squad elevations. Jalen Graham, the linebacker, up for San Francisco. And also for the 49ers, they have called up Malik Turner, the wide receiver, for special teams. No Kaiser White, so he didn't pick up the playbook quickly enough. Maybe Luke Gifford can go with the quad injury tomorrow, but probably it's either Garrett Wallow or Curtis Robinson at that weak side spot next to Eric Kendricks. And now, welcome into the hotel room, the studio, the makeshift studio here in Philadelphia. So the Panthers almost got them. Unbelievable. 10.5-point favorites, the Rams were, and they almost blew it. In fact, you can argue that if Nick Scott had intercepted that Matthew Stafford pass in the end zone, the result would be different right now. And the Rams, who might be the strongest offense-defense combination in the NFC, maybe in the NFL, I would say, they'd be eliminated by the lowly Carolina Panthers. Alas, this is why you want to play the Panthers in the playoffs. This is why the 49ers wanted that number 1 seed so bad, because the LA Rams wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to Carolina. That would have been one of the downstream benefits for San Francisco. The Rams got lucky that they played an 8-9 team tonight that isn't very good, and the Rams ended up prevailing despite a litany of errors. I will say Matthew Stafford, he might have hurt his finger there at some point in this game, but he was not looking good. He was putting the ball into harm's way repeatedly. That secondary of Carolina was giving him more and more trouble as the game progressed. And then the Rams were able to sneak through there. The Stanford product, Colby Parkinson, made the catch on a nice throw from Matthew Stafford. You have to give him credit for that. But the Rams don't get in position to win that game if Puka Nacua doesn't play defensive back. Matthew Stafford was making his own wide receivers play DB to knock the ball away made his receivers play DB to knock the ball away from Nick Scott. Unbelievable, because that could have gone the opposite way of the Jaworski-Tart 49ers NFC Championship game against the Rams had Nick Scott caught it. Instead, it turned into something that was just like the NFC Championship game. The Rams making the comeback in the final minutes, and then their defense puts a clamp on the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, I thought that he played admirably. I just think he's a little small. I think that's always an issue, especially if he's facing a pass rush without a run game there at the end when Carolina got into desperation mode to throw the football. Bryce Young just couldn't hang in there and deliver downfield. I'm sure there was something downfield. Instead, he's spinning out of the pocket. He can't see what's going on, and the Rams were able to bleed out the clock against the Carolina Panthers. Anyway, let's go to the playoff bracket here ahead of the second game. The Chicago Bears against the Green Bay Packers. I heard there's snow in Chicago. There's a lot of rain here in Philadelphia. We're up on the 9th floor right now. You can see outside, but the rain is actually not expected to be in place tomorrow when the 49ers play the Eagles. The game is not starting until 4:30 Eastern time. So I want to open up the bracket now for you. Let's go here. Let's get it up on the screen. Here it is. The left side of the bracket, you see the Rams have advanced. They are the 5 seed. We still don't know what the games next week are going to be, but although we will have an exact idea of the stakes as soon as this Chicago Green Bay game is finished. If the Packers win, the Packers will play the Seattle Seahawks because the Seahawks are going to get the lowest surviving seed. And since Green Bay is the 7, a win today would ensure that they are the lowest surviving seed. If the Chicago Bears win this coming game, then the Seattle Seahawks are going to play the Rams next week. or the 49ers, depending if the 49ers win, then they would be the lowest surviving seed. So we won't know anything for certain until San Francisco and Philadelphia play tomorrow. But the Bears winning this game would set it up for it's either the Seahawks as is the one are going to get the lowest seed no matter what. So the Bears winning this game would set it up for either the 49ers or the Rams to head up to Seattle for the divisional round of the playoffs. And then the higher remaining seed would go to Chicago. So the Philadelphia Eagles could be that team going to face the Bears if the Bears win and the Eagles win tomorrow. And the Rams would head to Seattle. It just depends on what happens both tonight and tomorrow. But the 49ers, their ideal path would have been a Carolina win to knock out the Rams, and then a Green Bay win to keep the number 7 seed alive. Obviously, Green Bay can still win, so theoretically the dream of an NFC championship game at home is still alive for the 49ers. It would have to be 6-7 San Francisco against Green Bay. But eliminating the Rams would have been a big deal for everybody in the NFC playoff bracket, maybe in the entire NFL playoff bracket, because the Rams are the best offense-defense combination in football. If you don't believe me, this is the efficiency chart. Further to the right means better offense. Further up means better defense. The Rams, this doesn't include special teams, which almost lost the game for them today. Although it's crazy that Carolina muffed a punt in the first half, and they still almost won. I mean, the Rams, I think, are in danger zone. You would think that a game where Carolina muffed a punt, a game where Carolina started so slowly offensively, would be something where the Rams would be able to turn this into an easy victory. I mean, they were 10.5-point favorites, but the Achilles heel of this LA team, special teams, did strike again. And I think an Achilles heel of this Rams team is Matthew Stafford and his propensity to throw poor passes. He ranked number 32 in bad throw rate this year, number 32. So, yes, he was efficient this year. He wasn't at the top. He wasn't as efficient as a Brock Purdy. He's a little bit more efficient than a Mac Jones. The media is only looking at counting stats, though the ones that are saying, well, I'm going to vote for Matthew Stafford MVP no matter what. And those votes are already tallied, by the way, since the regular season is done. So when you don't look at the efficiency stats, when you don't look at some of the stuff that's further under the hood, you ignore the fact that Matthew Stafford ranks number 32 in bad throw rate, despite having probably the best arsenal around him in terms of play caller and weapons and run game and a really good defense. And, it's the special teams that has threatened the Rams in some of these games. And then it's Stafford's lack of mobility and Stafford putting the football in harm's way. They lost at Carolina in week 13 because Stafford turned the ball over 3 times, 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. In this game against Carolina, he put 2 up on a platter, threw a hospital ball to Devontae Adams, and the Rams are lucky that Devontae was able to come back from that. That was also a personal foul penalty that moved the chains on a 3rd down for the Rams. But he put 2 very clearly up on a platter for Carolina. They were able to catch 1. They weren't able to get the second. And then I think it probably was a concussion for J.C. Horn. Not having him in at the end of the game probably was the difference that tipped this into LA's favor. They were able to get the break when Puka Nacua played DB and knocked the ball away from Nick Scott. So it was a Jaquiski Tart type of moment. Not as easy of a pick, I get it. But then the Rams got a second break when J.C. Horn exited this game with an injury. And then Stafford got to work against the defense without its best cornerback down the stretch. Either way, the Rams are beatable. And I think that's probably a sigh of relief for a lot of the NFL, because the Rams at the start of this season, when they were absolutely on fire, before people really saw that special teams weakness for what it was, and before people saw some of the Matthew Stafford concerns for what they were, people would see this from the Rams and be like, oh man, they're up there by themselves. They were in tier 1 by themselves for a while. But the flaws of the Rams are hot on their tails right now. And LA is going to have to face those flaws and overcome a whole heck of a lot here in the next round, regardless of who they play in the divisional round of the playoffs. Anyway, moving forward to the Packers and the Chicago Bears. I think I picked LA to beat Carolina. I think everybody picked LA to beat Carolina. So that's not surprising. It was surprising that Carolina was able to keep it this close despite muffing that punt in the first half. But this next game, I expect the Green Bay Packers to win. I think they're going to go in as I think they're road favorites, actually, but they are the lower seeded team on the road. I think they're going to get the job done against the Chicago Bears. And if that does happen, if this does go according to my prediction, then it's going to be Seattle against Green Bay tomorrow. And then it's going to be the Rams against the winner of the Eagles and the 49ers next week. I think I said, yeah, the winner of 49ers Eagles tomorrow playing the Los Angeles Rams down at SoFi Stadium. I'm going to get the bracket back up for you guys. Some of this stuff is kind of hard to process in real time, but it would be 1 against 7 if the Packers win. If the Chicago Bears win this game, then the Seattle Seahawks definitely wouldn't play the Bears. It would be the Rams against the Bears, and then the Seattle Seahawks against either the 49ers or the Eagles. So I think the Packers are going to win. It's only a 1-point spread. Last time these two teams played at Soldier Field just a couple weeks ago, it came down to overtime. So we can't make any crazy proclamations yet. I think it's going to be great cinema. It's going to be in the snow. I can't wait to watch this. It depends on how Jordan Love returns and delivers. But I mean, we can look at the team tier chart, and I get that the Packers no longer have Micah Parsons, so they're not going to be as good as they are on here, but they are a little bit better on the team tier chart. Both teams below average defenses. Green Bay, though, last year they managed to play decent defense without Micah Parsons down the stretch, and I think that they're going to be able to piece it together, especially with inclement weather today. I think that the experience factor of Jordan Love, I mean, he tried to turn into Brett Favre against the 49ers a couple years ago, throw across his body, extremely damaging interception, ended the game for the Packers against the 49ers. I mean, he's been there and done that, though. He's been in the postseason. He has those games under his belt. He has a couple seasons worth of those games under his belt. Now Jordan Love can take that experience that he has and Caleb Williams doesn't, and I think that that's why Green Bay is going to be a little bit better in this game. Maybe I'm wrong, though, and maybe that blows up what we expect out of this bracket, but assuming that Green Bay does hold serve as favorites and gets this win, the 49ers and the Eagles will be playing for a chance to play the Los Angeles Rams. If had the Panthers won, the 49ers and the Packers won, the 49ers would be playing for a chance to travel to Carolina. So less travel for the 49ers next week if they can find a way to get this done against Philadelphia, as it's either going to be Seattle or LA, but definitely a stronger opponent, because you look at this, take a look at where Carolina's at. They're way down here. The Rams just almost lost to a team that is, 4 or 5 tiers below them. Not a good sign for the Rams entering this postseason. Sigh of relief from them. I'm sure that the rest of the NFL a little disappointed that the 8-9 Panthers, now the 8-10 Panthers, couldn't land a knockout punch, but so it goes. Anyway, I think it's time to go watch another game. That was your 49ers injury update. Trent Williams, he's going to be in the lineup for the 49ers tomorrow. We'll see on Ricky Pearsall. We'll see on Lane Johnson, and then obviously Jalen Graham up for San Francisco, Malik Turner up for San Francisco. Don't discount the importance of special teams. I mean, that's been illustrated very loud and clear. Malik Turner going to be the gunner for the 49ers in this game against the Eagles. All right, let's watch this next game. Everybody take care.